This conference will now be recorded.
Electronic BRS. Now it is the same process. The way we processed manual BRS, electronic BRS is also processed in the similar way. The only difference or the only change is in manual BRS you have to update the statement information manually one by one. If your statement contains 100 records, these 100 records to be updated in FF67 manually one by one. When it comes to your electronic bank reconciliation statement, bank will provide a statement like MT940 statement or BAI format statement. Majoritarily, we will be using MT940 format. When you receive the MT940 format, this is a text file. This is a flat or text file. Some call it as flat file, some call it as text file. It is one and the same. In short, your notepad format. When you receive the MT940 format from the bank, you are not supposed to make any corrections, any changes in it. Strictly no manual intervention on the bank statement. While practicing, we will be preparing the file manually. There we will be doing some manual intervention, but when you are working in any project, the statement, the way you receive it from the bank, as it is, it will be uploaded in the SAP without any modifications on it. Strictly modifications are not allowed in the MT940 bank statement, no matter what. If you want any corrections to be made or if you want any information to be updated, we need to inform a bank to update the particular details on the statement. You will be receiving the bank statement. In the bank statement, you are going to have two information. So the detailed explanation of bank statement, sample statement format, we will be discussing in tomorrow's class. In your bank statement, you are going to understand certain points. One is your transaction details and note to pay. Note to pay. So bank will provide you transaction details and note to pay. And in the transaction details in the note to pay, we need to understand based on these two line items or based on these two segments or based on these two tags, you need to understand what kind of entry it is and how this is to be posted in your EBRS. When it comes to EBRS, it is all about your external transaction type. External transaction types. Now this external transaction type is nothing but nature of business transaction or nature of transaction appearing on the bank statement. What will bank do? Bank will classify all the banking transactions into external transaction types. Let's say all the check related transactions, they will classify as one transaction. All the transfer related one transaction, all miscellaneous related one transaction, all charges or any other thing related another transaction. This external transaction type list will be provided to us by the bank. These are basically the common. MT940 is a global format. When we say MT940 is a global format, any bank from anywhere in the world will have the same bank statement called MT940 format. Since this is a global format, the particulars or the details mentioned in the MT940 format are same irrespective of the bank. There may be slight modifications, but the core content of your MT940 will remain standard fixed irrespective of the bank. If you are able to read, if you are able to understand MT940 format, you will be able to understand any MT940 format of any bank. Once you are able to understand MT940 format, first thing that you need to focus is external transaction type. What are all the external transaction types that are listed by the bank? Let's say normally we will be having check transactions. You may be also having, let's say, transfer, and I'll say miscellaneous. Miscellaneous transactions. Let's assume that these three transactions you have miscellaneous, and or let me take fourth one, charges. One is check transaction, the other one is transfer, another one is charges. Let's say the last one will be miscellaneous. Now, according to us, we know what kind of entries are possible, what kind of entries are posted using bank reconciliation or using bank. Point number one, you will be initiating the transactions related to check. When you're talking about check, you will be issuing check, you will be receiving a check. In check transaction, you are going to have incoming checks, you are going to have outgoing checks. Because whether you are issuing a check or you are receiving a check, according to bank, this is a transaction related to check. So bank will tell all the transactions which are related to check, we will classify as check transactions. And similarly, when it comes to transfer, whether you are initiating the transfer or you are receiving the transfer, what will bank say? All the transfers, whether it is related to your incoming transfer or outgoing transfer, funds received by you or funds initiated by you. They will also tell here same thing. For transfer transaction also, we are going to classify as incoming transactions, outgoing transactions. Similarly, charges. There will be different charges. When we are talking about charges, let's say bank is talking about interest charges, late fees, commission, or transfer charges, something like this. There are different charges which is charged by the bank on your bank statement. Now, what will bank tell? All these kind of expenses, all these kind of charges, we will be classifying under charges. Similarly, miscellaneous. Let's say bank is giving you anything called interest. Okay, you have 2 points: interest which you are going to pay, interest which you are going to receive. Commission, you may also be receiving a commission. Transfer charges or any other, let's say refunds, not refunds, these two are sufficient. Let's assume interest or commission. In general, whatever is represented in the miscellaneous, let us assume these are all incomes that are provided by the bank. Any interest credited to your account, any commission which is credited to your account, these kind of points are miscellaneous. If there are any other points, if there are any transactions related to your banking, your bank statement will clearly specify these are all the transaction types which we are using. In each transaction type, these are the nature of entries that we will be listing. This manual will be provided, shared by every bank. We will even get this kind of documentation on Google also, how to read or how to understand MT940. But when you go through the bank specific MT940 format, you will be able to identify these classifications. Under check transaction, what kind of entries will be classified or what kind of entries will be provided. Now, for this, we are assuming that these are all external transaction type. Your external transaction type will begin with 2 digits only, two series. One is strictly N series. There is one more series which I do not remember. I'll let you know what is the other series. Basically, two series are possible. System SAP will identify your external transaction types only with the two series. One starting with N series, the other one is some other series is there, another letter. Apart from this, no other series are possible, no other series are used for your external transaction type. Every bank all over the world will be starting their external transaction type starting from N only. Now, N is the starting letter for identification of external transaction type. On your bank statement, you are going to have two tags. One is tag 61 and tag 86. Is this correct? Is this correct? Tag 61, 86, Prasanna?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you are going to have tag 61, tag 86. You will be finding this external transaction type on tag 61. So tag 61 will tell you external transaction type. So on the bank statement, you will be finding tag 61, tag 86. So I'll say this 86 as additional information. Tag 86 will provide you additional information. Tag 61 will provide you external transaction type. For check related, let's say this is classified as NCHK. For any check related transaction, let us assume that external transaction type is NCHK. Similarly, for any transfer, it is NTRF. NTRF for any transfer related transactions. And for charges, let's assume that NCHG. And for miscellaneous, let's say NMSC. This is what your bank is providing, or this is what your bank is updating when it comes to classification of different transactions based on external transaction types. Now, so far what we did when we did manual bank reconciliation statement, there also we had a transaction type, but the point there was we were creating these transaction types manually, which means we are calling it as internal transaction type, wherein the creation of the 4-digit transaction type is our choice. Whatever the 4-digit you want, you are creating according to your requirement. What we are doing for check incoming, we are creating a separate transaction type. For check outgoing, we are creating a separate transaction type. Similarly, for transfer incoming separate, transfer outgoing separate. For each of these things, you can create a single one or you can create a separate one. Now, when it comes to electronic BRS, system is not going to segregate check incoming, check outgoing separately. Similarly, your bank or your statement is not going to segregate incoming separately, outgoing separately. Then how you are going to understand whether a check is related to incoming or outgoing? Whether a transfer is related to incoming or outgoing, how we are going to understand? You need to understand based on the statement line called 61. When you look at the statement line 61, you need to understand what is the nature of transaction. Point number one, nature of transaction you will understand based on transaction type NCHK, NTRF, NCHG, NMSC. This will tell you check, transfer, charges, miscellaneous. The moment you understand it, every transaction will have debit or credit. Bank is not an exception to it. Bank will also call it as debit and credit, but from the other side. When we say the other side, your debit, bank is talking about credit, your credit, bank is talking about debit. So you should look at the transaction from the bank point of view. Let's say when you are looking at bank statement, when you're looking at the bank statement, always see this from bank point of view. Whenever you look at bank statement, always look at the bank statement from the bank point of view. Now, why we are telling we need to look at the bank statement from the bank point of view? Because in your bank statement, your debit credit indicators are from banking side, not from the accounting side. As we know, debit in accounting will be credit in banking, credit in accounting will be debit in banking. When you are looking at a bank statement, you should always be very careful that you are seeing it from the banking side. A particular transaction, let's say if I put a simple sample transaction, NCHK, I'll put NCHK and I will put debit, I will put 1000 and then I'll put, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now this is from your tag 61. I'm not writing the complete line, I'm writing only the lines which we need to focus, which we need to determine based on the bank statement. Let's say if you're looking at a tag 61 or item number 61 or item code 61, you are going to have an indicator, a 4-digit letter called NCHK. The moment you look at NCHK, you need to determine that this is related to check. Now in check you have two classification. Check incoming is possible, check outgoing is also possible. If you look at here, it is representing DR. Your bank statement will clearly represent DRCR. DR is a debit transaction, CR is a credit transaction. Now this debit credit, in short this DRCR, is from the bank point of view. Think from the bank point of view. If it is a debit from bank, it's a deduction. Any debit from bank is deduction, any credit from bank is addition. So you need to see whether your bank balance is getting added, whether your bank balance is getting deducted. In short, your bank balance is becoming plus or your bank balance is becoming minus. So if you're talking about incoming, your incoming is nothing but plus. Your incoming is plus because plus will increase the balance. Your incoming will also increase the balance. Similarly, outgoing is always minus. This is because whenever you are making any payment, your outgoing payment will be deducted. Whether you talk from your accounting point of view, you will deducting the balance. Whether you talk from the banking point of view, you are deducting the balance. Whenever you are deducting the balance, you are going to put minus or negative symbol. Now here if you see the debit, what we need to understand, let me put debit credit here. I'll put symbol and I'll put accounting, I'll put banking. Symbol I will put plus, symbol I will put minus. Okay. Symbol plus according to accounting, if plus is nothing but adding. If you're adding anything in accounting, you are going to call it as debit. If you are going to add anything in banking, in bank you are going to call it as credit. Similarly, if you are minus, if you are doing any deduction, if you are doing any negative, you are going to call it as a credit in accounting. The same credit is going to be called as debit in banking. This we need to understand. You should always keep this in your mind. Otherwise, we will end up getting confused whenever you look at the bank statement. When you are looking at the bank statement, when you are reading the bank statement, make sure you are not getting confused between debit and credit. In your bank statement, it is always from the bank point of view because it is a statement which is prepared by the bank. When bank is preparing the bank statement is always prepared based on banking debit credits. Banking credit means plus, banking debit means minus. So here if you look at the NCHK, same NCHK is going to have 2 points, plus and then minus. How do you determine plus? How do you determine minus? Based on the statement line 61 containing DRCR. NCHK DR means a deduction. NCHK DR means deduction, which means a check outgoing. Similarly, NCHK CR means addition, check incoming. It's a positive number. On the same side, after the DR, you are going to have the amount. Your bank statement will not contain the amount positive, negative, which means plus 1000 minus 1000 will not be represented. In place of that, it will indicate DRCR, in short, debit credit indicator. Debit 1000 means negative 1000, credit 1000 means positive 1000. And after that, you are going to have the narration or the transfer related information. If it is related to check, if your bank statement is representing a check number, in the tag 61 you are going to have a slash like this. After this slash, it will be represented with your check number, transfer number. This is always followed by the slash. Tag 61, after amount there will be a slash at the end. If there is any transaction reference mentioned in the bank statement, you are going to have the number. If it is related to check, it will be a check number. If it is related to transfer, it will be a transfer number. In short, your UTR number, unique transaction reference number, or TR number, transfer reference number or transaction reference number. Sometimes for certain transactions like your expenses, your incomes, your bank charges and all, there will be no reference for it. In such cases, it will be clearly mentioned as non-ref or no reference. After slash, it will be blank because there is no check number for it, there is no transfer number for it. In short, there is no transaction reference number for it for you to identify. These are the direct entries which are processed by the bank, for which majoritarily it will contain the non-reference or no reference. Once you have this information, you are going to have another tag called 86. In this 86, you are going to have additional information. Probably this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is also part of this. And you will also have who initiated this payment, from where the payment is received. If the person who deposited the money has given any instructions, or if you are giving any specific instruction to the bank, those instructions are included in the tag 86. Let's say ABC Private Limited. ABC Private Limited, maybe if they're representing their document number, something like that may also be included. This is the additional information or note to pay. But your clearing is always based on tag 61. In the tag 61, whatever the reference that you are mentioning or maintaining, followed by the slash. After the slash, whatever the reference you will have, in this example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these points are majoritarily considered for representing your interpretation algorithm. Based on the interpretation algorithm, we are going to identify the open item from the bank sub account. Okay, once I show the bank statement empty 940 format, I will explain in detail about what transactions we are referring and how the statement will look like exactly, and how do you read it, how do you understand the statement. But these are the basic points that we must be aware of before you look at the actual statement. Just by looking at the statement, we will not understand, because we get confused. The moment you look at the bank statement, it creates a sudden confusion which we do not want. If you know these points well in advance, when you look at the statement, it's easy to connect. Okay, so when you know that one transaction contains both, now here when you're creating the configuration, you're mapping the accounting symbols and accounting symbol with the GL account, rules for the posting key, and then you're creating posting rules. These 4 transactions will be created exactly the same way we created in manual BRS, but the additional configuration will be, you will be creating a transaction. In that transaction, you will assign your bank account information to this. You are going to assign a transaction. For that transaction, you will be assigning your bank account number and all. In that, you are going to maintain the external transaction types which are provided by the bank. These external transaction types, what you will do, you will have to maintain what is the external transaction type, which algorithm to be used for passing the or for processing the entry. If you are processing the entry for a clearing document, or you are processing the entry for a direct document. In short, clearing entry or a direct entry. We already understood what is a clearing entry, what is a direct entry. If there is an existing open item, in short, if you are posting any transaction into this sub account, like check incoming account, check outgoing account, transfer incoming account, transfer outgoing account, you call this kind of a transactions as clearing transaction. In the clearing transaction, there is one existing posting. While doing the bank reconciliation, we are moving the existing transaction from the sub account to the main account. In short, this is called as transfer posting or clearing a transaction. Here what system will do, whatever is going to happen when you use F-04 or FB05, same activity system will perform while processing bank statement. So here also you will find 2 options, FB01 posting account, FB05 posting account. FB01 is a normal entry posting, in short direct entry posting. FB05 is a clearing entry posting. When you are clearing this entry, you need to clear based on a different criteria, whether you want to post the clearing based on the document number, based on the reference number, based on the assignment, based on the amount, or based on any other customized field that you identified. Considering these points, you need to select one respective interpretation algorithm. Based on the algorithm, system is going to identify the open transaction from the bank sub account. Now for one NCHK, you have plus, you have minus. In your manual BRS, for every transaction type, we are assigning one posting rule. But in electronic bank reconciliation statement, every external transaction type will have two posting rules. When I say NCHK plus means posting rule for check incoming, NCHK minus means posting rule for check outgoing. NCHK plus check incoming posting rule, NCHK minus check outgoing posting rule. Similarly, NTRF plus, let me put plus here and I'll put minus here. NTRF plus is a transfer incoming posting rule. NTRF minus is a transfer outgoing posting rule. You're not going to create any additional external transaction type. It is strictly based on the bank statement format. In bank statement format, whatever is there as it is, we need to create as the transaction type. In this transaction type, you are going to identify based on plus minus indicator. One with plus indicator, one with minus indicator. System is going to identify plus minus based on debit credit from your statement line 61. If your statement line 61 is talking about DR, SAP will understand this is a credit transaction, credit entry. Accordingly, it will pick NCHK NTRF minus posting rule. If your statement line 61 is containing a CR, credit, system will understand this is a debit line or this is a positive line. Based on the positive line, it is going to identify incoming related posting rule. So we need to slowly understand how this transaction types are getting worked out, how system is able to identify how postings are happening, if there are any errors in posting, what are the reasons for which the postings are not happening, and how do we resolve it. Because when you upload electronic bank statement, errors are common because sometimes the reference numbers may not be accurate, and when we are posting the entries manually, the initial entry or original entry reference may not be accurate. Sometimes this reference from your manual entry in the sub account, the same reference from the electronic BRS, in short the MT940 format, may have some clashes or may have some mismatches. Now how do you overcome these mismatches? If there are any entries which are not posted, how we are going to map it is something that we need to understand. Here also same point, the way you practiced manual BRS, in the similar way we need to practice electronic BRS, which means you need to take one bank account, you need to take around here 6 transactions initially. One check incoming, one check outgoing, one transfer incoming, one transfer outgoing, one for the expense, one for the income, and we need to upload. We need to upload this statement. We need to practice unless and until you are able to upload this statement without any errors. The complete statement is processed. If it is taking 3 attempts for you to do it, practice 3 times. If it is taking 5 attempts, practice 5 times. If it is taking 10 attempts, practice 10 times. But your end target is to make sure when you upload the statement, without any error, your statement must be processed. Which means first thing what you will do when you're practicing, even this is applicable even for your manual BRS. First thing, you post a single statement with only a single line NCHK. Consider only a single line so that you will not get into any confusion. Put NCHK, put positive amount, try to post it. Check if this NCHK positive is working fine or not. If entry is posted, you mark it as like NCHK is working fine. Similarly, NCHK outgoing, this is also working fine. NTRF, this is also working fine. Charges is working fine. Miscellaneous is working fine. First, you are going to test one by one transaction type with a single statement. Once the separate transaction type is tested, then you need to consolidate. At a time, if you consolidate, you may get into unnecessary confusions, which is not required. Do not process one by one. Sorry, do not process all in one unless you are clear. Process one by one so that even if you get any error, it is very clear to understand why error is coming, what is there in your statement, what system is reading, where the mismatch is coming, why the entry is not getting posted. If there are any problems, you will be able to understand, you will be able to resolve the issue. Once everything is processed, take another statement, look at the bank main account GL balance, take this as opening balance, and then write down one transaction in each. One check incoming, one check outgoing, one transfer incoming, transfer outgoing with your imaginary figures. Find out the closing balance, prepare the file format either in MT940 if you are practicing EBRS or manually if you are practicing MBRS. Upload the transaction data into the statement, click on post. Make sure when you click on post, you will be strictly using batch input method, not the direct processing. We will not use direct processing in real time. Strictly batch input method, because there will be a lot of transactions. If you create a batch input method, you can post the statement now. You can review the batch input session. You can process it later on. If you process it directly, if something is not happening, there will be no batch input session. So you will have to depend again on, there is something called post processing of bank statement, FEBAN. FEBAN is the transaction code. You will have to go to this transaction code to process the missing transactions from the bank statement. Manually you need to process from here. This is not recommended, because when you are uploading a statement, it is always expected that your statement will get processed successfully. Every time you're uploading a statement, every time there are errors, then there is something wrong, something which needs to be seen, something which needs to be fixed. Because this is not a good practice. Every time you're uploading a statement, you are ending up getting errors. Errors for valid genuine reasons are allowed, accepted, but for everything is there but clearing is not happening, these kind of errors are not accepted. Okay, when you upload the statement like this, make sure when you upload the statement, you don't even look at the statement, process the statement in background, straight away go to GL line item report. You're not even supposed to go to GL line item report. You are strictly supposed to go to GL account balance FAGLB03. If you go to line item report, you get a huge list of transactions. You will not understand anything there again. Straight away go to GL balance report FAGLB03, input your bank main GL account number, click on execute. It will display the closing balance. If your statement has processed all the entries successfully, FAGLB03 closing balance will match with your bank closing balance, statement closing balance. If it is not matching, it is an indication that certain entries are not processed or your bank statement is not fully posted. You need to go to FEBAN or you need to go to the GL line item report, identify what entries are not processed. If there are any clearing issues, what is the problem? You need to identify and then fix it, post the transaction. But your target is to ensure the bank statement closing balance is agreeing with bank main GL account closing balance. Okay, these points I want you to remember at the beginning or initially, so that when we are looking at the bank statement, when you are trying to create the configuration and all, we will not get confused. We will be more confident and you will find it very simple, very easy, provided you practiced manual BRS. Any questions on this? Is this clear, or any questions, confusions you can ask?
Sir,
Ajay,
the statement which is come from bank is always MT 940 only. Do we need to ask them to provide in that format?
If they are planning to use electronic BRS, it is majoritarily MT940 format only. Some companies they use BAI format, but majoritarily MT940 is used, not
Sir,
BAI.
that,
Even if somebody is asking you which format you are working, upfront you tell that MT940. You can openly tell that you did not work on BAI format in your previous project, in your previous clients, you were using MT940.
sir, these formats is just tell by consultants or company will decide, suggested by us or company.
Which one? Which format to be used?
These, yes, sir. Actually, in my client, they're using this one only, manual BRS. But just if I wanted to upgrade that to EBRS, that what will be my approach?
So you need to ask your client to talk to the bank to provide the statement in MT940 format. One sample statement, let's say for one particular month, let's say they would have done their bank reconciliation for last month, June month, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now you ask your bank to provide the bank statement in MT940 format for last month. Now this, since the statement is already processed manually, they would have the reconciliation items or the reconciliation file manually that they reconciled with subledger to main ledger.
Yes, sir.
Now get the MT940 format from the bank for the last month. Look at that MT940 format and verify with your manual bank reconciliation. Let's say a particular open item you are identifying based on check number. Now for this particular transaction in your MT940 format, where is that a transaction? How this is represented? Is there any check number? Yes. If check number is updated, is this updated in tag 61 or tag 86? In this tag 8061, is this updated after slash or before slash? If it is coming in 86, where it is exactly coming in 86? Sometimes what will happen, you will have 61, 86. In the 61, there will be one more line which only talks about this, only like this. Whatever the bank reference or the transaction reference is there, it will be in the line 61. The same reference code will be appearing separately below the tag 61 and above the tag 86. The two lines will be representing like this in most of the statements. And you need to make sure you are able to identify that how your electronic bank reconciliation is representing each transaction. Because whatever the manual BRS that your client is doing, they are doing it based on the PDF download of bank statement or Excel sheet download of your bank statement, correct?
Correct, sir. Excel.
Now, whatever they are downloading either from PDF or Excel or whatever the format, the same information will be represented in MT940. With MT940, bank will not provide any additional information because it's a global format. It's a standard banking format which is used by all the banks. Nothing specific or no banking related personalized information in this. If you want any such information, you need to instruct or you need to talk to the bank. This information, these points also we want to include in the bank statement. Accordingly, your bank might accommodate the requirement to add additional information which you want. But first, you need to understand how MT940 is looking like, what configuration you are doing, and how you are uploading the statement. In the same way, you can implement for your client also. Okay, this is one of the points that you can suggest as process improvement. So it will save your time and all. You can talk, you can tell, you can configure this MT940 or EBRS in your development system for testing purpose, and you can show them in development.
Is there any technical involvement in this, sir? Like adapter need to develop anything?
If you wanted to automate this BRS, then you need the technical involvement, ABAP basis, and then the interfaces. If it is not required, no need of any ABAP. What they will do, your bank will provide the MT940 in an email. Every month, normally you get your monthly statement, correct?
Yes.
On your email in PDF format. In the similar way, bank will execute or bank will set up automatic statement generation and sending it to the respective email ID that you have communicated with the bank. Maybe on a daily basis, once in a week, twice in a week, whatever the interval you specify, at that interval, bank will be sending the MT940 format to the respective email ID. This is where there is no automation, where there is no interfaces. You will receive the statement from the bank through an email, or you can directly log into the banking using your corporate ID password, download the bank statement for the respective time interval that you want in empty 940 format. This is your manual. No automation, nothing is required. Get the statement either through email from the bank or download from the net banking. Go to electronic BRS statement, upload the statement as it is. Whatever is matching, it will process. Whatever is not matching will sit or will appear as unreconciled transactions. These unreconciled transactions you need to reprocess or you need to verify from FEBAN, FEBAN. On the other side, if you wanted to bring the automation interface, you need the technical team like basis, ABAP, then the PI team and all is required, where they will be creating a connection between your SAP application and the bank application, through which the bank will prepare the statement. The statement will be automatically transmitted or transferred to one of the folders that is set up in your SAP, which is nothing but AL11 folder. In A11, there will be one of the folders created by the basis. In that A11 folder, the file will be replaced on a daily basis or whatever the interval that you have. From this, once the file is coming, you will have to save the file based on the naming convention, because every time bank is going to tell bank statement and the date. If you are having statement 2 times a day, you can, if the transactions are more, you can have the statements twice a day. Or if you are storing every statement in the same folder, today I received one statement, it is statement number 1. Today I received a statement number 1. Tomorrow I am receiving another statement, and after that another statement. Let's say currently I am here. I am supposed to receive third file. Due to some reasons, if this statement is not received, when you are interfacing, there may be issues. Due to some reason, if the third file is not interfaced or if the third file is not extracted, or maybe the same file, it is replaced. When I say the file number 2 is replaced by file number 3, something like that. But how you are going to make sure that there will be a unique file all the time whenever you process it, and you will come to know if the file is processed or not. So for that, what you will do, you will have to save the file with timestamp. You will have to save the file with timestamp. When we say timestamp, if the file is received today, your file name, whatever is coming from the bank, will be stored by adding a suffix called date and time. Let's say 24/07/2023 and the time when it is received. So that when the ABAP consultant is looking at this A11 folder, because when you are automating it, there is no manual intervention. You will not be processing the statement manually. The statement processing is also automated. This ff.5 or ff_5, whatever you have for the manual electronic BRS, this will be automated. So what ABAP consultant will do, he will ask what are the input parameters that I need to consider. You will tell them that you need to take this import file, you need to select MT940 format, and then you need to take this Bellner 1299 and all this criteria you will be informing. So ABAP consultant will put, and he will create a layout and he'll make it as a variant. And once the file is placed, ABAP consultant will schedule a background job, which will go pick the file from the A11 folder, and it will upload the file into ff_5. All other parameters are filled up. It will execute and create a background job or batch input session automatically. If it is automatically created, and the processing will also be automated. Once it is created, it will get executed on its own. Once it is executed, the execution result may be sent to one of the users or one of the employees on the email. That log it will capture, it will send an email. So all these points are handled by the technical team. Your involvement will not be there. You will be only providing your input. You will only be part of the testing. But this is not related to FICO. This is related to technical. Anything which is related to interface, we are not involved in it, because for interfaces there are different teams. We normally call it as technical. You will be providing them the input. You will be part of the testing, whether it is working fine or not. Clear?
Yes, sir. We have another process like A11, some from other external software to our software. We have done something, sir, in that format, same format what you said, that we are following.
Okay. It is the same. Normally, when somebody is talking about interface, we tend to get scared and all. Nothing to get scared, nothing to worry when somebody is talking about interface and all. In the interfaces, as a functional consultant, you are not involved in it. Interface is purely related to technical activity. For technical activities, you will have technical consultants. So, as a functional consultant, you need to know what interface you are talking about, what is the process for it. That is what, if you are able to talk, more than enough. But normally what we try to tell, we try to explain something related to what you did and all. Whenever you get any question, we assume that this is related to FICO. As a FICO consultant, I should have done it. We try to look for config and all. That is wrong. You need to talk about that process. If you're talking about BRS, how your BRS is processed, is there any automations, is there any interface created with the bank? If you wanted to say that, yes, tell that you created an interface with the bank to extract the bank statement file, which interface you have used, which method you used. Tell that you don't remember it. They're not concerned about whether you tell which method you are used for interface and all. Nobody wants it. Everybody wants to know whether you are aware of that interface process which you are talking about. There are thousands of interfaces, there are thousands of tools to interface between two systems, but which nobody wants, because that is not your area. When you're in any real environment, you have a separated team for it, technical team. But if you're talking about small interfaces like banking and all, make sure you're able to explain the process clearly. That is more than enough, nothing beyond that. Same is applicable for your DME also. When somebody is asking you about DME, most of the people will get scared. No need to get scared about DME. Even if you do not work on DME, even if you do not configure DME, you can talk confidently about DME. It is very simple. All you need to know is what information is to be filled up in the file and how this file is sent to bank. And after that, it's all about your technical related stuff. But you need to know the process, what happens once you send the file, how you will receive the return file, how, if your BCM is activated, bank communication management, and how the bank communicates, sends and receives the messages, how these messages are updated, is something that you need to know at base level. That is sufficient. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on this? Alright, if no questions, make sure you refer these points whatever we've discussed now, so that tomorrow when I explain about the MT940 format, when we start doing electronic BRS configuration, if you have already practiced manual BRS, you don't find it difficult at any time. 90% you will not feel anything new in electronic BRS based on your manual BRS if you practice at least one time. You will see this is same like manual BRS, because it is the same 80 to 90% exact copy is there, nothing new in electronic bank reconciliation. Whatever the changes that you have in EBRS, those changes we already discussed here. Your 86, 61, and how you are going to read this, what are the account symbols. Because in manual, everything is manual, your mind is very focused on completely accounting. But when it comes to MT940, this is from bank side, debit credit which is represented on the statement from the banking side. So this will have the reverse impact on the accounting side. We have to ensure we are not getting confused there. You are able to read it, understand it, accordingly you will configure it. If you are configuring based on the bank statement, that is what you normally do. But if you are confused here, debit means you are assuming positive, your posting rules are set up accordingly, system will post the entries all reverse. Instead of debiting, your accounting will credit. Instead of crediting, your accounting will debit. This is because we are confused with the debit and credit from the bank statement. Simple, no other reason. This is just because of the simple confusion, you will end up doing wrong configuration. Okay, which anyways will not happen. I'll make sure that you understand what points you need to consider before you do the config. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You are asking something, Prasanna?
No, Ajay, it's getting clarified.
Oh. All right, if no questions, so today evening we will connect at 7:45 for our normal regular interview related discussions.
Sir,
Hello, sir.
I have one help I required it, sir. I mean, in my process, SD model is not implemented in my project. There, my client wanted to set credit limit for customer. There, I have given some FS, sir. I'll just tell you if any additional point required, you please add it for that one, sir. Is that okay, sir? Shall I
Yeah, yeah,
now?
okay. Is your credit management implemented?
No, 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 sir. No. So what I suggested to my ABAPer, just take an open item for the every customer account. That is the table BSID. So based on that, just restrict the item. Create one table, and while posting in FB70, it should hit that table and check in BSID, then post or else restrict. Is that enough, sir? Or any additional point need to be added?
But what is the logic that your client has for checking the credit limits
Sir, actually, they have
and what they want to
some
restrict? You said there is
based
no
on
SD module, so there is no point of sales order deliveries and all. So
no, sir,
straightforward.
nothing. Direct sale FP70 entry only. They have some like foreign customers and domestic customers. So in that, in the domestic customer, they will buy some I mean the goods. So based on their transaction, they wanted to set some limits here, 1 crore rupees, 2 crore rupees, like that. So if the credit is exceeded, the mean open item is exceeded for 1 crore rupees, system should not allow them to post it.
At what date it has to check? Let's say
Current
I
date,
am
current
posting an
date, sir.
invoice today.
Uh,
I may be posting invoice date with backdated also, right? When it is related to a finance JV, let's say that something I have sold on 15th of July, but due to some reasons I may be posting it today. Is that possible?
no, sir. Here, if we sell, the invoice number should get generated and IRN code, and the QR code need to be placed on the invoice copy. Then only the shipment will happen.
Okay, so it is strictly the current dated invoicing, correct? No
Yes.
backdated, no future dated.
Yes, sir. Current dated invoice.
Okay, in that case, instead of referring to your BSID and all, you will find standard BAPIS, which will retrieve the open item. So what your ABAP consultant will do while posting the invoice in FB70, this is only in FB70, right?
Yes, sir. FP70.
And then he will find one baddie or he will find one user exit on that FB70 screen, and I'll either ping you that BAPI which will pick the open items, or even if you Google BAPI for customer open items, you will get a BAPI, standard BAPI.
Okay.
Okay, and tell him to use this standard BAPI in the transaction while processing. When it comes to the posting, before posting, it will run that BAPI. It will verify what is the current open item. In short, if you look at this, because the logic that you're giving is complex. Let's say if I go to FBL 51, now if I see this, it has got 75, correct?
Right.
Now you are going to give a logic wherein go to SE16 and BSID
Enter the function.
TEIN execute. And this is what you are going to tell to your ABAPer. Is this right?
Correct. Correct, sir. This is what my plan.
But there will be a lot of entries if there are, because every customer will have a big list of outstanding based on your credit period.
Yeah.
Right. Some customers may have 10 outstanding, some customer may have 20, 30, 40, 50. It is possible based on the number of sales that you're doing with the customer, based on the credit period that you have. But instead of this, you will find standard BAPIS, which will run this report in the backend, and it will extract, it will come to know what is the outstanding figure, 75. And he'll include this logic before posting. It will validate this. It will verify the transaction amount. If your transaction amount is above this or based on the limit that you have set up, it will process. If it is not, it will stop. It will give a message, customized message that you want.
So that table concept is right now, sir. Need to create one Z table and mention the master data record.
For limit,
These
you
two.
need to maintain the table, correct? But not for the table concept is correct, not for checking these things. For checking these things, not the table, you should use a standard BAPI.
Okay.
You will create a custom table. How do you know that each customer is having this much credit limit? Are you updating anywhere in the customer master?
No, no, sir. That is what here we are not maintained ST model, so I'm not nowhere mentioning that one, sir. So I just suggest him to create one Z table, and that Z table should be editable. If you want to add some customer, it should allow, and increase decrease should be happen. So in that way, it should create one Z table.
Increase, decrease, it should happen automatically.
No, 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 sir. Manually.
Okay. Like they can increase the modify the limit, you mean to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that is fine. That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am facing an error, sir. Sir, please go to F-44 screen. Yes, sir. Sir, my company code is NLIN, and sir, account is sir 310. Yes, sir. Just select.
You're trying to clear this.
Yes, sir.
First check what is the group currency. This is dollar. FBL 1N. $310. INR is your local currency. The group currency is not becoming zero. This is not the exact reason, this is one of the reasons. F-44. If I change the currency, this is fine. Which document type it is taking? I think it is AB it is taking. Simulate, it is taking AB. You need to look at the splitting if there are any modifications in it. If you're splitting active, zero balance clearing account, NLGR, what is it? Chart of account.
NL, yes sir, NLGR.
You update this account here. You have created any group for a takeover. 8 series 8100. Balance sheet account, takeover account. You put profit center clearing. Put this account here in your zero balance clearing. Characteristics, profit center, this is fine. Document type. For AB, this is wrong. Transfer posting from P&L to balance sheet, this is wrong here. AB is your clearing entry. This is 1010 should be there. Okay, now where is it? /n F-44 document simulate general ledger. This is still the dump. Balance code module number, this internal error. Perform message error code. Let's try with 0000. This error is due to document splitting config only, no other reason. This is all fine. This is also fine. Let me try the other way. F-04. I'll put SA. Choose open item 310. This is your vendor. Let me simulate general ledger, same dump. I'll check this out, why this error is coming. I need to check the other configurations related to splitting, and then I'll tell you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, this is document splitting related error, not related
Yes,
to
sir.
your transaction. Nothing wrong from your side. This is the splitting related transaction. Somebody changed some settings and all. I need to verify.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. All right then. So in the evening we will connect at 7:45.